Hello and welcome to Exploring AI Frontiers with Coastal 7. This is our first webinar, and we are excited to begin this commemorating the International Women's Day. Before I introduce our guest speaker, I'd like to introduce you to Coastal 7 Consulting, which is an agentic AI company driving innovation through AI products, solutions, strategy, and consulting. Our purpose is to drive sustainable transformation and solve complex challenges by delivering innovative, AI driven, and inclusive solutions that empower businesses, communities, and individuals to thrive in an ever evolving world. And now, welcoming our guest for the day, Aneesha Vallabhaneni.
Hey, Rohan. Hey, Tejaswini.
Hi. Hi Anisha, welcome. And Anisha is the Director Cloud and Emerging Technologies at Fidelity Investments. Anisha's journey is a testament to passion, perseverance, and breaking boundaries in the tech industry. Starting as a data analyst intern, she charted an inspiring path from being a software engineer to leading high performing cloud engineering teams at Fidelity. With a sharp focus on cloud transformation and emerging technologies, she's driving innovation, collaboration, and inclusivity at the core of her leadership. Anisha is not only shaping the future of cloud infrastructure, but also creating a culture where diverse talent thrives. Today, she joins us to share her insights on building inclusive tech teams and navigating the ever evolving technological landscape. Welcome to Coastal 7's first webinar, Anisha, and we are extremely happy to have you here.
Thank you, Tejaswini. Same here. So I'm really excited to be here with the launch of this webinar series with Coastal 7. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I'm so glad to see another powerful woman sitting across the table and discussing and trying to see what the future holds for us. So jumping right into the conversation, can you share a bit about your background and your journey in technology from your early days as a Java developer to the current leadership role in cloud and emerging technologies?
Sure. So before I dive into it, I would like to just mention something that the views
Yeah.
that I'm sharing today, they're completely my own and do not necessarily represent those of my employer, Fidelity Investments. So now that I've said that, let's get into the first question you asked, Tejaswini. It's about my background. So, as you mentioned, I started as a Java developer, but I wanted to build something beyond just applications. And I have always been someone who looks for new opportunities. So, I believe that's what helped me land where I am today. I moved into architecture from development. So that gave me a better view of the entire ecosystems. And then I dived into emerging technologies like blockchain in a product role. And in the recent years, it's been around cloud computing and AI, where I could see the bigger picture of scalability and innovation. So I would say each transition for me was not just about learning a new technology, but it has been about solving the impactful problems, understanding the business context, and then providing solutions to it.
Right, that's very impressive. And the transitions, like you said, must have been huge learning curves for you, right? So, what must have inspired you to pursue a career in AI and emerging technologies? And how has that passion evolved over time?
So, definitely, I would say it's curiosity about everything else. So, AI caught my attention just like everyone else's, and because of its potential to change everything around us, how businesses operate, and how we even interact with technology. Everything is shifting. So initially, I saw it more like a fascinating tool, to be very honest. But over time, I realized its power. to drive those meaningful changes. And the more I explored the tools, the more I started diving into the AI world, the more I saw the opportunity on how we could build responsible and inclusive systems around us.
Right. That's very interesting. So, as a woman leader in AI and tech space, what unique perspectives do you think women bring to AI and innovation and the entire perspective of leadership in the technological sector?
So, definitely the diversity of thought. That's what I hugely believe in. And as soon as we have a diversity of thought around us, that's what leads to innovation. Whether it's
Right.
men, women, it could be non binary or gender fluid individuals, because every group brings their own unique, different experiences,
Right.
and it will help us build those inclusive solutions, right? So,
Right.
women, especially, I believe, have a unique blend of empathy and collaboration, and I firmly believe that's what we bring to the table.
Right.
We not only focus on the user design or ethical consideration, we also look at inclusive innovation, because we sometimes ask those tough questions like who's being left out and how does this impact everyone around us. That's how we start thinking at home. So I think that's what we how we start thinking even at work. So that's
Right.
definitely one perspective we bring.
I'm glad to know that. And also, can you specify if there was some situation which brought out what you just said, maybe with respective to your own role?
So I would say it's been more around. I'll give you an example. Like, this is one thing which I've read online as well. Like, the chatbot, which was first designed, right? It was not giving us the proper responses. The responses were biased. Or the voice recognition systems in the initial phases, they were not detecting human voices as well as it did the male voice. So these are some examples that I can think of on how we can bring and ask those kind of questions, especially at work. If I should say, um, it became one of the question I would say is how we design the user interfaces as well.
Hmm.
So I try to think uh, through design thinking process and get the perspective, unique perspective of multiple users,
Right.
so that we understand who are the people. Are we including everyone when we are thinking of user design? Maybe we are not looking at color blindness, and not including everything with respect to the formatting. So those are some considerations which we may not think
Right.
constantly, but they do come up. And the more we dive into that world, the more we will understand and more we will be able to, promote those.
Right. I'm really fascinated that you mentioned about the color blindness. I think that's where leadership stands out. Like, you think from everyone's perspective and try to be inclusive. So that's a great example. So tell me what kind of challenges you faced in the tech industry, not just as a woman, but during your growth phases and in the corporate environment. So if you can just give us a gist of the challenges you faced and how you overcame them, it would be nice.
Sure, sure, definitely. So let's see. I think the first one is something many of us might relate to. One is definitely the imposter syndrome. This is something I still see that when I'm doing a new job application, I'm like, okay, maybe not. I'm not ready for that role. But this is something I constantly tell myself, saying that let's go for it. Even if
Yeah.
I fall short in one or two things, that's okay. Let me just try it out. So I think imposter syndrome is definitely huge, which we need to overcome.
Hmm.
And being the only woman in the room, it has happened several times. So when those kind of things happen, unfortunately, sometimes your thoughts are represented by someone else.
Right.
That does occur. So I would say the biggest challenge has been ensuring that my voice is heard and it's credited, because there have been times where I have shared an idea and it will be echoed by someone else moments later and suddenly gains traction.
Yeah.
So it all depends on overcoming this is purely how confidently are we representing our thought, and self advocacy is going to be huge around this, and also the network of allies that we are building around us.
Right.
So we need to be confident when we are expressing a thought of ours, and also we should not be afraid to point out saying that, hey, this is exactly what I was trying to say, and it's okay. You can be polite, you can be smiling across the room and just advocate for yourself and
Yeah.
stand.
So you mentioned the network of allies, and I remember like a lot of studies and a lot of reading that I did mentions that women are not great at networking, right?
Mhm.
And building those friendships that actually support them very strongly. But it's probably the fact that they believe that they may not get the support more than just trying and actually discovering that you have a lot of support.
Yep. Yep.
So, did you also face such challenges, or did you see in your own circles women facing the networking challenge?
Yes, I definitely see that. I experience it personally as well. They just need to be honest, uh, because sometimes when you are going into a group of men, you may not relate to all the topics that are being discussed. So it might be a little difficult to dive into some of those topics as well. And I'll tell you, there's a huge cultural shift as well from India to US when you move, right from sports, everything. What we discuss in India would be cricket, whereas over here it's football, which is not even European soccer. So everything changes.
Yeah.
So I had to, in the initial phases, I had to learn a little more about sports. And I have
Right.
definitely taken the help of my husband. I used to watch some soccer with him. I used to cheer on some of the teams. And that's how I got more interested into some of that world, so that I can start having those conversations when I'm around other people and stay more relevant and get connected. But eventually, what I've learned is the best connections would be how intentionally are you able to connect with the other person. So that
Right.
is, those were my initial phases, like let me pick one interest so that I can blend in. But now it has evolved. Now it's more about, I do not need 100 people in my network.
Hmm.
I need a close net of 20 people probably, who can be my support as well as I can be of support to them. And how you connect with them is through common interests, and the growth mindset is going to be huge when we
Right.
start thinking of that. When the other person starts seeing what your thought process is, how you are thinking about your future, and also about the technology or any other space that you belong to,
Right.
that's how you get instantly connected with the other person, and you don't have all the other interests that I talked about. It's all secondary.
Right. Basically, creating a network of high value people that are your allies.
Yes.
That's nice. So, what steps do you think should organizations take to encourage more women to pursue careers in AI and emerging technologies? Do you think there's a problem with understanding or accessibility? What do you think should businesses do?
Sure. One thing I would say is many of the organizations today, they're investing in STEM education, and they're also offering us the mentorship programs, right? As we can see. So that has been a very early start so that we can incorporate that kind of mindset and showing them role models within the organization, because I strongly believe that you cannot be until you see that person in the same role. So until you relate to it. So creating those visible role models is also equally important, and organizations are taking a step towards it, and they heavily invest in hiring. Tejaswini, I think that is one of the things, but we need to go beyond just hiring,
Yeah.
because we need to start thinking about retention. How do we promote them more in terms of their career growth? And how do we support women at every level,
Right.
especially through care options? And it could be around flexible working hours, what it takes. So that is going to be a huge step that organizations can start thinking around beyond just the hiring. And it's not just about AI, it applies through all the technologies. AI is something which is new, which just came up, but we have been in this phase of a similar discussion right from development in the early stages, or whether it be Java when it was first introduced, it was pretty much the same. Then we had, of course, many other new technologies which came up, like the blockchain and Bitcoin, crypto industry. So now
Right.
it's more around AI. So anything I feel it's more about how can we incorporate women into all of the several stages and support them.
Right.
And yeah, that's where I would leave it.
So, you were telling me that you are a new mom, and the kind of role you're in requires you to be, hands-on at the leadership level. So, how have you been able to balance this, and how have organizations evolved in supporting care for women at work? I mean, I think you can start with your own example and also, go further.
Yeah, definitely. So, definitely, I have been fortunate to receive uh, help. It starts from the leaders. That's what I would say. Organizations can have the high level flexible hours and the leave policies in place, but it definitely starts with the leader on how are they supporting you throughout this phase. And I am fortunate with that. And again, I would say self advocacy, even in that at that point, right? You have to be very clear, saying, hey, my time is going to be limited. So in this limited time, I want to take up as impactful work as possible.
Right.
The moment you say that, the other person will also start thinking in those terms. If I cannot assign Anisha probably 3 projects to deal with,
Right.
but let me give her one project which has a true visibility and impact on the firm,
Right.
and I'll work towards that. So it's all about us sharing that perspective with the leadership team and being open and honest. So once we do that, people will start valuing, and they will see your value as well, what you bring to the table, and give you those opportunities.
Right. Like you said, it's always a two-way street, and we have to be very clear with our communication.
Yes.
So, we all know that AI has disrupted nearly every sector, and we are seeing its impact and feeling it now more than ever. So, from your own experience, what do you see as the biggest shift in the last 5 years?
uh, Definitely on how it has evolved from the R&D department into pretty much every enterprise solution now. So 5 years ago, it was mainly confined to those specialized teams who
Right.
were PhDs or research assistants, and they were diving into it. Probably the only thing we have heard of AI is the robotics, and
Mhm.
which the universities are working on. But now you we are interacting with it whether we know it or not. Like it could be the generative AI, chat GPT, and all of this, or Even for developers, we have the Copilot, Gemini Code Assist. So many things are getting involved into the enterprise everyday work. So the customer service chatbots, everything is utilizing AI now. So as we know, the rise of Gen AI, it has definitely been a game changer. That's what I would say. But it's no longer about automation alone. It's about augmentation, is how I would put it. So we need to help professionals in every industry work smarter and more efficiently utilizing this technology.
Mhm.
But with rapid growth, there are also huge number of discussions happening around responsible AI
Yeah.
and how we can mitigate some of the bias that is introduced in the data and what are the governance models that we can have around it. So
Mhm.
as organizations are scaling with the AI, it's not just about building something smarter, but it's also building models which are transparent and going to be beneficial to all of us.
Right. You answered my question on AI governance and ethics and the steps that businesses should actually take to ensure responsible AI development. Thank you. Tell me now, you've led high performing teams at Fidelity. What strategies did you use to foster inclusivity and innovation within your own teams? Can you give me some examples?
Definitely. So my everyone has their core leadership principles, and for me, it is empowering my teams more than anything else, because I believe that when people feel valued and trusted, they give their best work. So
Right.
when it comes to a new initiative, I involve my team right from the design process itself so that
Mhm.
they are involved from the very beginning and they feel their ideas and thoughts are being valued and incorporated. And that's how they will take the initiative forward. You do
Right.
not need to be hands on at every step. You can rely on your team, they will take it forward for us. So creating that kind of psychological safety is also a key part of this culture as we empower them. So I highly encourage my teams to challenge any new ideas and also fail fast.
Right.
Okay to fail, we just need to fail fast and understand and move on. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that's how we learn continuously, and that's how we can foster innovation.
Right. Thank you for that answer. So now tell me, say we fast forward the whole time to 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
How do you see AI transforming industries?
Oh, okay. uh, I think it will be as fundamental as electricity around us. It would be pretty much powering everything that we know, we see, we touch, and we feel. So it's going to be far more than just a tool. I
Mhm.
think AI will be the collaborator for us.
Right.
One of the biggest transformation I see is going to come from agentic AI,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was pretty evident from NVIDIA call as well recently that we had. So agentic AI is going to be huge because it will move beyond simple automation to
Mm-hmm.
active, proactive decision making processes. So be able to handle the complex workflows, they can anticipate the business needs, and well, they can even negotiate on our behalf.
Yeah.
So it's going to be everywhere.
So since you work in the fintech sector, can you tell me how fintech sector in specific would be impacted by AI in the next 5 to 10 years? How
Definitely.
do you
So yeah, I would say it's going to be more around the one example I can think of immediately is the financial advisors.
Mm-hmm.
They can definitely utilize AI. It's going to be a collaborative tool along with them and help in managing some of the portfolios. Um, you don't. we are sometimes limited, right? We are limited on the time, we are limited on the resources. So instead of managing probably 10 clients, tomorrow you might be able to manage 30 clients with the help of AI. That's because you have all the gist of all the information given to you. It can bring up and do the research on your behalf. It can, with agentic AI, it can even start taking some of those decisions on how it needs to be reflected based on the risk level of the customers. So all we have to do is, okay, let me take a look at it. Did it introduce any bias or did it make any mistakes? Because AI is also learning along with us in this
Yeah.
process. So it will be making some mistakes and we should be able to identify those. That's where we come in and we
Right.
work in close collaboration with AI. So
So right now,
mhm.
are we still ready to let AI agents make decisions for us, or it will take, say, another 5 years or less than that? How do you see that happening?
So I'll say with Gen AI introduction, we haven't even seen it, and it has picked up so quickly.
Hmm? Yeah.
So the growth within the AI sector has been exponential in the past few years. So with if we go along the same trajectory, I would
Hmm.
say it would be less than 5 years, in my
Yeah.
opinion. On because we are already starting to see some of the agent AI tools around us. We
Right.
are just getting started, but once it kicks in, it's going to be a rapid development.
Right.
But how efficient it is or how accurate it is, it's going to take time. So that's why I give that 5 year horizon for it.
Right.
uh, as I said, it's failing fast and it's learning throughout this process, the
Yeah.
AI as well. So it definitely needs the human component in there, and we need to be there to give it the right input and help AI adapt and learn from its mistakes.
Right. Okay. So, complementing that question you mentioned about agentic AI. So, apart from agentic AI, what are the other upcoming AI trends that excite you the most, particularly in the cloud and emerging technology space?
Sure. I would say definitely AI driven automation in the cloud infrastructure space.
Mm-hmm.
So we are seeing a lot of shift towards self-healing and optimizing in the cloud environments.
Okay.
So where AI can predict some of those failures for us, it can optimize the cost. So FinOps is going to be huge help, where we can take a lot of AI help and
Mm-hmm.
definitely managing security in real time. It's going to
Right.
be a bigger focus so
Mm-hmm.
that we can focus less on the maintenance and more on innovation side so that we can introduce more features, new features around it.
Right.
And definitely another thing which I want to add is the AI cybersecurity. AI powered cybersecurity is what I would say. We see a lot of AI driven attacks today, and that's increasing. So we have to combat that again with AI. So security solutions will need to become more smarter, and they need to adapt to those real-time threats that we have for the system so that we can prevent those damages in the future. So it's going to
Right.
be a key battleground, I would say, for the AI within the security space.
Right. So, help me understand this. For people who do not understand agentic AI or AI in depth, say, for example, now a group of agents have tried to make a financial decision on my behalf, and it's an efficient system of agents that's running the whole show.
Hmm.
Like you mentioned, cybersecurity and the security risks in the entire ecosystem would be huge, right?
Yes.
Given that, maybe I wouldn't be able to prompt it, but still it may have happened and I may have lost money, or there is some sort of a danger that's lurking around.
Hmm.
So, what kind of steps should organizations take in terms of securing this kind of, you know, uh, the entire environment so that such dangers or such crashes don't happen, and people don't lose their money or in the process, lose out
Yep,
basically.
yep. So if I have to go technically, the first thing that comes to my mind is probably integration of several technologies like blockchain and AI. Blockchain mainly because it gives us that security of digital assets and everything in place. So that, of course, is evolving along with AI as we talk. And I see a huge integration point for both of these technologies as we move forward in the future when we are talking about securing our assets and safe transfers across countries or regionally. And one more thing I would say is, as I mentioned, it's going to be you have to combat the bad AI again with the good AI.
Yeah.
So the agentic AI, which is trying to sneak behind our systems, we need to have a smarter AI ahead of it so that it can detect that threat real time, and the moment it detects it, it shuts it off. So
Right.
that's how we have to keep adapting to our systems. So it's going to be a combination of multiple technologies, a blend of technologies for better security, and where there is a trustworthy system across the world in the distributed ledger space, as well as how AI can be at the forefront so that it can identify those bad attacks as well.
Right. So you're saying basically we'll have to build good AI to battle the bad AI.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
if I can just sum it up that way.
Yep.
So how in such a space where we are seeing rapid AI advancements, and people are just shifting from one technology to the other, how can professionals upskill themselves to stay relevant in this evolving landscape? Maybe we can start with how you are doing it at the leadership level, or maybe even personally, and then
Sure. Uh, I would say don't just wait, and there's no perfect time, especially for uh, the pace at which AI is going now. And the best time is today and right now. That's why everyone, including me, and no matter at what point you are in your career, you might be a college grad just out looking for jobs or you could be a professional with 5 years of experience or 10 years of experience just like me. We all have to jump on the wagon right now. We have to start learning, and all of that comes with hands-on experience. Just listening to some of the um, courses online may not be sufficient. So we need to start interacting with those tools as we take the online courses. That's going to be equally important. And that's how I learn as well. And that's one piece of advice I would give to anyone looking to jump into this sector. So, like with any technology, I would say it's important to be hands on and learn, and definitely don't underestimate the power of a good network. Again, I would say you need
right,
to join some of the communities like meetups or open source communities that are being organized, or even reach out. You don't need multiple mentors, trust me. You might need just two or three folks who can guide you in the right direction. So
right,
definitely start building that network as you learn, because there are many people out there who are learning this. So you need someone to take you to the next level or venture into it. One example I'll say is for myself, I'm trying to go back into product, go back
hmm,
into the AI space for product more specifically. So
right,
as I look towards that, the one thing which I will rely on is my community.
right,
Definitely, curiosity will help me learn, but the community is what will help me land where I want
right,
to be next. So, stay curious and definitely do a lot of experimentation with the AI tools and
right.
start reaching out to your communities. And it's better today, it's never late. And More importantly, I would say we don't have to know everything to add value. No one
Right.
does, right? So, what we bring to the table is our own unique perspective and
Mhm.
how we approach the problem solving. And that matters equally and more just as a technical expertise. So, don't get hindered when we hear about the AI jargons. So don't be intimidated by those. Just start
Right.
tinkering with it. And I think with like any other technology, AI is just another technology. So start playing around with it.
Right. So, Anisha, I'm just curious. You mentioned about, joining communities, trying to go for meetups, or, being part of these discussions, or just trying to learn from there. How many women do you find in these communities that you are part of?
Definitely. So I would say if we look at certain communities like women in product, it's purely focused around women. So that's one safe space you can go and reach out to other women out there, and they can share their own experiences as they ventured into that field and how they have grown. And probably eventually, once you strike up those conversations, you will find a mentor or a sponsor who can take you to the next step, right? Um, but meetups, I would say still I don't see too many women. It could be multiple things. Tejaswini, I'll be very honest. Like for me, I do see some meetups which are really interesting, and I want to go out there. But I mentioned I have a newborn at home along with a toddler, so I may not be able to go out after 7 p.m. because I have to take care of few other things at home. So you might be restricted sometimes. So definitely look for virtual meetups is what I would advocate for. We have a huge virtual communities also going around after COVID. So with Zooms and everything taking up. So that's where I would see look at your comfort level and what are your boundaries and restrictions, and based on that, start. So probably virtual space, even for introverts, sometimes they might feel it's better to start it on a virtual space versus going and interacting with hundreds of people out there, because that drains out their energy pretty quickly and they may not be able to take it up, right? So I would say start small and
Right.
also see what are the safe spaces that you can be at.
Right. Okay. So, my last question for you.
Sure.
What advice would you give to young women or young professionals or even students for that who are aspiring to be in, leadership roles in the STEM field? And maybe you can direct it specifically to young women because women in leadership roles are even scant even now in
Yeah.
2025. So, please share your thoughts.
Sure. I would say definitely the growth mindset. And we may not realize it. Start thinking at least and plan for 5 to 10 years. Every person is different, every person's planning is different, but I would at least aim for the next 5 years, next 2 years. Where do you see yourself? And have that constant growth mindset. And I think that is going to unlock multiple possibilities, which we may not even realize have existed out there for us. Because once you start thinking about this is where I want to be in the next 5 years, you start looking at people who are in that role today,
Yeah.
and it could be a cold email reach out, but sometimes that does work.
Yeah.
And trust me, it works wonderfully. The universe will also start helping you even without you realizing it. Once you put in the effort, things will start falling into place. It might take a little more time for some of us compared to others. So don't just look at LinkedIn and other professional profiles and feel like, okay, they have achieved something in 5 years, whereas it's taking me 10 years. That's okay. Each of us, again, have our own journey. So don't worry about those timelines. Just see what is the best effort that we can put out there for us.
Right. Yeah.
So finally, I would just end with this. I'll say lead with confidence, and advocate for yourself. No one knows about us much better than our own self. So, always self advocacy, leading with confidence, and also, of course, helping others as we climb up the ladder. That's going to be huge.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those valuable thoughts. I totally agree with you when it comes to, having a plan and trying to make a plan about the plan, and
Yes,
then, having to reach out to your network, which plays a huge role. And like you said, the art of manifesting works really well. I'm sure it did for you, and I'm 100% sure it did for me too, and I can vouch for that. So thank you so much. We will take questions now while
okay,
I'm summing up the webinar
yeah,
for our audience.
definitely.
So some of the points that Anisha spoke about today were about how inclusive leadership starts with being, empathetic as a leader and empowering your teams, and also as a leader, how you have to start believing in your team more than anyone does. And also when it comes to upskilling yourself, it all begins with how you reach out to your network, how you it is a two-way street where you build your support system and you start learning by yourself. It could be through courses online, it could be through influencers or thought leaders around your network, reaching out to them, or being part of meetups or communities that really stand for you or support you, and also give you new perspectives in your roles. And as someone who is aiming to go into product again, I wish you all the best. And let's see if we have any questions. One key takeaway for me was about the color blindness that you mentioned today, which I think is very key point for any leader, and that's what makes you stand out as a leader. And another one was about self advocacy. Women generally are too shy to, talk about themselves. I was in that position many years ago.
Yeah,
uh, so I can totally relate to what you're saying. And I was very shy when it came to introducing myself, and was actually looking around when people would introduce me to someone else, sort of a thing. But you are your own PR, so you have to do all of it by yourself. So
yes,
I think as of now, we did not receive any questions.
okay,
So we can wrap up the session. And we wish you all the best as a new mom,
thank you.
balancing work and personal life. And we hope to see you as one of the best leaders at Fidelity and also in the world. So, yeah, I think there are some questions coming.
Okay.
So, there is one question from Satya who asks, for beginners, what's the best way to learn and understand AI? Please advise.
So, probably start with AI itself. Utilize something like a Chat GPT or Perplexity, Claude, any of those tools. They are giving you the best gist uh, by removing some of the jargons out, which might intimidate when we are starting. Because the moment you start an online course, you could be running into some of the terms like, okay, deep adaptive learning or RAG techniques. And the moment you see all these words thrown at us, we might be taken aback because we are not in that sector, right? So I would say definitely utilize AI because it can say, hey, you can just give a simple prompt saying, can you help me understand more about AI and how I can start into this AI journey through this online course in simple terms? And once you give a proper prompt, it will start giving you the basic terms and help you understand the ecosystem and infrastructure that AI is being built upon. That could be the very first start. Once you understand the basics, I think then we can start venturing into online courses and build upon that knowledge further.
Right. Thank you so much. I'll just add one thing to what you said. Maybe prompts are very important to start your journey in learning from what you said. So, yeah, let's jump to the next question. This is from Sonakshi. She asks, you mentioned that startups still don't have many women, meetups still don't have many women attending. From your experience, what are some effective ways companies and AI communities can encourage more women to actively participate?
So, one thing is can be around the timing of these meetups as well, Sonakshi. Like I said, many working women they might have families. You could have your own restrictions, so you may not be able to stretch beyond your regular work hours. So being flexible around those timings, and the next thing is having more virtual meetups as well, because that is something you can craft. You don't have to spend another hour traveling to a place. You can just get ready, sit in front of a system for a few minutes, and have that virtual conversation, which can be as effective as we are in person without even realizing it. And it's quite powerful. So, those are two things which would come to my mind.
Right, thank you. So the next question is from Namrata Rao, who says, other than building good AI to eliminate bad AI, how to balance innovation with ethical responsibility in AI development?
It's a very good question. So, I would say it starts with the data itself when we are thinking about ethical AI. So, how are we able to eliminate the bias from the data? That's what is going to form the foundation as we build these systems. And definitely governance models around it. So, governance, I'm not just talking about thinking about ethical AI after a product is built. I think it has to be incorporated as a feature as we start building that product. We need to start thinking around it from the time we build it. So that's where innovation as well starts. So think of it ethical AI as a feature of the product itself instead of thinking of it once the product is built. So we have it from the very ground up, and also showcasing our transparency in the models. So trying to how are we building these fair models? What is the data that we are utilizing? Because there are so many concerns around privacy and data scrutiny that some of the models are taking in. So it's always important to share that transparency of the models as well. And that's what I feel will help us build better systems in the future.
Right. So we have one more question, and we can end the session after this. How and when, if any timelines, do you see the impact of Gen AI on leadership or management roles in the corporate world?
So if you're saying the impact of those tools on the management, it's already happening, is what I would say, because it's not possible to completely move back from where we are now. So if you look at it, we are looking at ways on how, irrespective of which stage of career you are in, everyone is starting to know about AI. That's because all the systems that we are going to build in the future are going to be built around it. And
Right.
during one of the question which Tejashwini has asked, I mentioned it's going to be more as a collaborator for us. So that's where I see it has to go hand in hand along with us. So even for the whether it be management roles, whether it be development roles, or whichever roles that we take within the corporate sector, we will be utilizing it. And there's one phrase which is pretty popular on LinkedIn. It's AI is not going to replace us, it's going to replace people who do not use AI, right? So I think that's definitely going to be true to certain extent, because It's going to be incorporated pretty much into everything that we interact with, and even the management or the leadership that we have within every organization realizes that, and they're thinking in those terms as we move forward.
Right. Thank you for answering. And we have one more question that came in. It's from Kirti Vardhan Reddy. What are the key cohorts for brands to adopt AI for building imagery?
Hmm.
Do you want me to
Well,
rephrase it?
yeah,
Maybe like what he means, I believe, is what are the key steps for brands to adopt in the age of AI, where you have imagery which is AI driven and not really originally made by humans. So, what kind of steps should brands take?
definitely. So, as I mentioned, humans are always involved at every step of a product. I try to think of everything that we are introducing more in product terms to keep it more relatable. So when humans are involved in building a product, they will bring their authentic self into it. So, irrespective of how much we have the AI, the data that we feed to it is what will bring your unique perspective into it. So, we can have AI content creators, we can have AI imagery, AI doing it, but we have our own unique self and our own set of experiences around this world, which would always be hard to replicate. And that's what brings, and that's what the brands would focus on as we move in the future.
Right. Thank you so much for taking those questions so patiently. So, at Coastal 7, we are doing this AI for Good campaign, which basically is about the good part of AI and how AI is doing good for humans. While humans do good things, AI makes it better, right? So that's the whole idea behind the campaign. And thank you so much. We've learned so much from this conversation, a very heartfelt and an open conversation. And I myself have learned different perspectives on AI and leadership and how to support women from different communities and through diverse perspectives. So thank you so much. And here's wishing you a happy International Women's Day to you as well as all our viewers and every woman watching this. We hope you grow in your career and in your personal life and keep rocking all the time. Thank you so much for your time.
Definitely, Tejaswini. Happy Women's Day to everyone again. And thank you for having me today. And it was wonderful to get all those interactive questions from you all. And Tejaswini, again, thank you so much for those wonderful questions that you have asked as we were talking about. And it's been a fantastic interaction. And I wish to see everyone move ahead, and let's all, as I said, bring each other up as we climb up the ladders, and don't hesitate to reach out, and we're always there, and manifestation is a big thing which will always take place. Okay, thank you all again.
Thank you from Coastal 7 Consulting and for being a great part of our first webinar. So, have a good day. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye bye.